I got my Star Wars mug. I got my books. Let's talk sci-fi. So today I will give some recommendations to read some science fiction books. As you know, I love sci-fi. However, it's very hit or miss for me. I prefer like more science-focused sci-fi. So when it feels more real, where they explain the science fiction a bit more. Well, not really the science fiction, but the science actually, where when it feels all quite possible, or not necessarily possible right now, but makes you think, well, whoa, that could actually happen in the future. As opposed to things like space operas, it's not very realistic, and it connects to me less than the other sci-fi. What? But again, there are some very good space operas too. So if it's really good, it's really good. But if it's not that good, I don't like it that much. Space operas, I prefer them in movies or TV shows, like Star Wars or Star Trek. I haven't watched that many Star Trek actually, but I watched the new films. Things like that. So space operas, I think they're more appropriate for movies than they are for books, because you can only imagine that much, and when they describe a whole ship, you can let your imagination play a little, but it's not like you can see the whole ship, or at least I can't. I'm not a great designer or something like that, so I can't really picture an actual spaceship in my mind. I have some interiors, but nothing on the outside. Anyway, to start off, I want to start with a writer or an author who is called by many the father of science fiction, and that is, of course, H.G. Wells. This is an omnibus I found somewhere in a thrift store. It's yeah, I haven't read all of his work, but I've read War of the Worlds when I was very little, and I read The Time Machine a while ago, a long while ago, a couple of years ago. So I'm recommending The Time Machine to start off. It's about a time traveler who travels like a couple of 100,000 years, I can't remember the exact number, into the future, and there he finds two different races, I think. And then he talks to them, and they represent the good and the bad in mankind. So you could say what could go wrong and what could go good. So what hopes and fears. Dark and light. It's written in somewhere late 1800s by H.G. Wells. It was way before anything like that genre even existed. There are other authors like Jules Verne as well who were very early, but H.G. Wells is regularly referred to as the father of science fiction. So I just recommend the Time Machine. It's a short novel, like 100 pages or something, and yeah, then you're literally at the start of sci-fi, so I think it's a good place to start with. Next up, I have a more realistic or science-focused science fiction, written by Blake Crouch, Dark Matter. You can't really see because it's all, I really like this version, it's all black because of Dark Matter, obviously. This book is about a scientist who one day who has a wife and a kid, and then suddenly he wakes up and he doesn't remember anything that happened to him. He tries to go home, tries to go to his wife and his son. But when he gets to his wife, she does know him, but he is not her husband. And he asks about their son, and she says, "What are you talking about? We don't have a son."
What the hell are you talking about?
So all of this weird stuff happens, and he's trying to figure out what actually happened. And he's he's a teacher or a professor somewhere, but he has a lot more potential, right? So he's very smart, and he's a very good scientist. And then it has to, I don't want to spoil too much, but it has to do with traveling through different dimensions. And that's all I'm gonna say, because yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it's a short one too. It's like 300 pages, and I really recommend it. Also, I have another book by him, Reset. Just wanted to say, because I know he wrote another book, Recursion, which I really want to read, but I have this one, Reset, but it's in Dutch, and I've been trying to find it in English to read it, but because I'm an idiot, I thought Reset was also, like Dark Matter, the English title, right? But then I went like, hey, what's the original title, right? Because in the first page there's always the original title. Yeah, you can see. Anyway, it says fucking Recursion. So for a couple of months I've been postponing to buy Recursion because I wanted to read this one first in English, and fucking Recursion was this one in English after all.
Are you stupid or something?
But so I haven't read this one, but the TV show Black Mirror is based on this. I never actually saw Black Mirror, but I heard good things about it. So this one's on my list too. You can put it on your list as well. Next up, space opera from a little known title called Suppose I would only recommend this one if you actually like Star Wars, but most people that like science fiction like Star Wars, but not necessarily. So I have what's it called again? Heir to the Empire. Read it too a long while ago. This is the first one in the Tron trilogy. This is an old version actually. Here's the complete one. So this is the whole trilogy. In the Shadow of the Empire. So this takes place around 5 years after the Death Star gets destroyed. Yeah, spoiler alert. So it takes place after Return of the Jedi, Episode 6. And then there's a new threat, of course. Luke is going to be the first Jedi in a new generation of Jedi. And there's a new threat, and there's this Admiral Thrawn who takes control over the Empire fleet. And new battles occur. Han and Leia are married, and all of the other characters are there as well. So if you really like Star Wars and you want to continue Episode 6, this isn't canon anymore, so it didn't really happen in the Star Wars universe anymore, but it's still just a good space opera story. Next up, again, a more real, more story that feels possible. This one actually feels really possible. I talked about it too in my previous video, so I'm probably repeating myself a bit, but it is The Martian by Andy Weir. This is about a botanist that gets stranded on Mars and tries to find a way to survive there, on a planet where nothing grows or isn't, what's the word, livable for humans. So, and then he also needs to try to contact Earth to try and come pick him up.
Do you want to pick me up? Do you want to pick me up?
It's written in a diary form, so very first person. It's like you're reading his blog, which I really enjoyed. It was a cool writing style, and it feels all real, and you really connect with Mark Watney as well. So, and he doesn't just do stuff, he really explains it, and yeah, that stuff really interests me as well. So this is probably my favorite science fiction I've ever read. So yeah, that's I would definitely recommend it. And then next one is a bit of a cheat, but I'm really enjoying it so far because I haven't finished it, but I'm reading it right now. It's The Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. I'm on the first one, Leviathan Wakes. This is a space opera. I don't really know what it's about because I haven't finished it yet. But it's about humankind has colonized the solar system, so they're living on all the different planets. So Mars, Earth still, Saturn, Jupiter, and then the asteroid belt too. There are a lot of people there, so they're a bit spread out, and there are these ships who need to carry ice from the Saturn moons, for example, to other planets like Jupiter, because obviously there's no water. So that's kind of their job, and then they get a distress signal from somewhere, and they go to that ship, which is stranded, and there's no one there. And then there's this other detective who needs to find a girl or something. Anyway, I don't really know what it's about. It's a good space opera, and there's a TV show based on it as well, which I hear is really good. So I thought I'd give this one a chance, and I'm happy I did, because I'm enjoying it so far. But I'm like halfway through, so don't take my words for it. Did I have something else? I feel like I had something else. I don't think so. Anyway, so yeah, those are my science fiction recommendation. I wanted to keep it short and brief, so because my previous video was very long, and I don't want to bother you for that long every time I post a video. So I thank you for watching. I hope I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, guys.